Welcome back to part 3 of this Studio X Intro to Blender workshop, and we'll be learning about character materials today. Before we start looking at Blender, let's talk a bit about how materials and textures work. First, UV mapping. This is the process of projecting a 3D image onto a 3D model surface for texture mapping. Then, there's texture mapping, the method of taking a 2D surface and wrapping around a 3D object. Now, let's open up Blender once again and make sure you're open to the same blend file where your character model is. Now, we're going to create a smart UV for our character. Usually you will want to unwrap normally, but since this is an introduction to Blender class, a smart UV project will help us instantly create a passable UV map for texturing. Alright, so once you open up Blender, you guys should only have one mesh for your character, and you want to select that mesh, okay? Once you select it, you want to hit Tab to go into edit mode, and once again, you're going to hit A to select your entire mesh. After you hit A, you want to hit U, and you're going to see this whole entire pop-up with like a bunch of UV maps, right? And you're just going to want to find Smart UV Project, click on it, and don't worry about any of the angle limits or all these other modifiers, just click Unwrap, all right? After clicking Unwrap, if you go into UV editing, you guys should see that your model has been unwrapped, just like that. Now, at this point of the Blender project, I'm going to ask you guys again to just save. So again, we're just gonna go back into layout, and you guys can either use Command S, or you guys can press File, Save, and that way we just save our Smart UV projection in case the blend file decides to crash. Next, let's paint our model. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is go into shading, and in shading, you're gonna see this new viewport, and it's similar to what we had in our intro during the abstract render workshop. So what I'm gonna have you guys do is, again, click on your model, right? After clicking on it, you're gonna hit new, and you should see the principal BSDF node pop up, right? And what I'm gonna have you guys do is you wanna hit add, you guys then wanna hit texture, and we're gonna add in an image texture, okay? And then it's just gonna hover over where your mouse is, so you're just gonna click to enter it into the node graph, all right? After you have this in, right, we're going to create a new image for our texture. So I'm just gonna name this blurb texture. You guys can name it whatever you guys want, right? And I'm just gonna hit new image, all right? Once that's done, I'm gonna then connect the two nodes by clicking this color node right here, and you're just gonna click drag it onto the base color, right? You know whenever you got that done, whenever the whole entire mesh turns black, because it now has the texture map applied onto it, right? Afterwards, it's very simple. We're just going to go into texture paint, and then just like any other drawing applications, you guys will be able to paint directly onto the model. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, right, is show you how the texture paint setup works. On your left, you're going to see your UV map right here, and you can also draw on this, right? And you can choose your colors with these two bars right here. You're gonna click, and then a color will pop up. We don't see any color right now because currently the hue is set to black. So we're just gonna brighten it to white, and then you guys will be able to see the color wheel. So let's say I wanna make sure blurb is all purple. So I'm just gonna choose like a purple on my color wheel, just click and drag. And I think this is pretty good. Like that maybe, yeah, let's turn it a little darker, okay. Afterwards, I can then click and drag on my UV map right here. And as you can see, I'm coloring the map, and when I let go of it, the texture would then be applied onto the model itself, right? So all the parts that I colored in purple would then turn purple on my model, right? Now, this would take a long time since my brush is so small, and you could change the radius of it actually up here. And you can either go in, type in whatever radius you want, or you can click drag to make the radius bigger, okay? So now, blurb is all purple, right? And that's kind of what we want for now. What I'm gonna show you guys now is a way to kind of break apart our model. That way it makes it easier for us to texture it, okay? So I'm gonna go back into layout, right here, right? And you guys can't see the texture applied to it right now, but if you guys switch the mode to the third one, You guys will then see the texture is applied, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into tab, right? I'm gonna go into edit mode, and I'm gonna make sure my entire model is selected. So if it isn't, just press A, just like that, right? And then afterwards, you guys just wanna right click, and there's going to be a option that says separate. Let me move let me move my mouse a little bit so you guys can see. Separate, right? And you wanna separate by loose parts, all right? This way, our models are back to being separated, and then we can individually just texture them one by one on this, right? And you guys can also recombine some of the meshes to make it easier on yourself. So for me, I know my antennas are all black, so I'm just going to select, and you're just gonna, to select multiple things, you're just gonna hit shift and then click on the meshes that you wanna select, right? There we go. And make sure one of the selected objects is your main object, and you're gonna see it by it being orange and not like the more reddish orange. Right click, join. So now this is all one mesh. I want my leaf, my sprout to be one mesh as well. So I'm gonna just select all of it, and then we're gonna hit join on that too, okay? Afterwards, what's really cool is that if I go into texture paint, after selecting one of my meshes, right? I can't paint over anything else. So if I go into my color wheel again by just clicking on the button on the colors up here, I'm just gonna turn into like green maybe, right? And what's gonna be really cool is that if I just try and color my sprout, and you see how my brush isn't affecting any other area, but only the sprout is being colored because I have the sprout selected only. Right, so I'm just gonna go around, color it a bit, okay? There we go. That looks good. Just like that. And feel free to use a drawing tablet for this as well. I'm just currently using a mouse, but it's whatever you guys are comfortable with. And okay, after we have our sprout done, let's do the same thing with our antennas. So I'm just gonna have it selected, and then going back into texture paint, I'm just gonna change the color to black because that's the color of my antennas. Just like color it in, and I don't again have to worry about the brush going to any other side of the model just because I only have the antennas selected. All right. Okay, perfect. All right. There we go. Nice. All right. Now for Blurp's face, I'm gonna be more careful, but I'm just gonna have the face selected, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure I'm in my front view, right? And for Blurp, they have like eyes and like little blushes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just draw on the eyes. I'm gonna make sure my radius is about the same size as the eyes on the back. So I think that's good, right? And let's just like try and paint it on. So we have one eye here. Where's the other eye? We're just gonna go to X-ray to check. Other eye is this one right here. Okay, looks a little wobbly, that's fine. Just gonna make it a little longer. Like that, okay, nice. And then for its mouth, it's a little thinner, so I'm gonna set this to 10 and just draw like a little mouth, just like that. There we go. And the color of our blushes are like a lighter purple. And what's gonna be really cool is that you can actually select the color right off of our reference image or off of our UV map if you want. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into the color wheel, right? And there's gonna be this little teardrop right here. And you're gonna click it, and then you can now use it on anywhere on Blender. So if I teardrop onto my reference image, I actually get the color of my blush. And so again, we're gonna go back into my front view, right? And let's apply the blushes on Blurp. So it's a little bigger, so I'm gonna go to 20 maybe, like that. I'm just gonna give it a little blushy on this side too. There we go, okay? And again, throughout this process, you want to make sure that you're saving. So I'm just going to, again, hit Command S real quick, right? Or again, you can go into File and then hit Save. All right, this is just to make sure while you're texturing, if your Blender crashes, it'll make sure that everything's safe. And to be extra careful, we can also save our image texture. So in Texture Paint, there's going to be a button right here called Image. And then you're just going to want to hit Save As, and then again, I'm saving on my desktop, but you can save it anywhere. I'm just gonna save it as Blurp texture image and then save as image. So then it will sit there, and if I need to reboot it, I can then insert it. And to do that, it's really simple. Like let's say my texture is gone, right? And you don't see it here. you can always go into image, open, and then find your image. So blurb textures for me. And then boom, there we go. Now we have it open again. Now, if you look around once you finish, right, there's going to be little imperfections. Like right here, you can tell there's a little bit of green, even though I don't want that part to be green. There's a quick way to fix it, really. We can always just fix it in our UV editing portion of the blend file. Due to smart UV unwrap, our unwrapping, of course, will probably overlap sometimes. So if I go into UV editing and make sure in layout you have the part of the mesh selected, go into UV editing, right? And then also hit A to select all parts of it. Here, we can not only have the head selected, right? Head UV selected. And I can see right here is where there was a little overlap with the sprout. So a UV map, it can be easily manipulated just like any other model. And they also have faces, vertices, and edges. And I'm just going to take this little vertice right here and just press G. You can either move it and, oh, make sure you don't have proportional editing on, but just want to press G to move it a bit. And then I think this should fix what we were working with. Yeah, perfect. All right, oh, and it seems like I missed a bit of the black on the antenna, so I'm just gonna quickly go back in and fix it. So let me just turn my brush black. Again, we're just gonna go in and just color it by clicking and dragging, okay? All right, just a little bit more, click and drag, color, maneuver around. Okay, perfect. All right, I think for me, that's done. And if I go back into layout, ta-da, we have our blurb, okay? And again, whenever you guys are finished, be sure to save. So I'm just gonna do that again by pressing Command S, or again, pressing File and then Save. All right, thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and good luck.